Hey, Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro members. As always, thanks for being pro members. It's Eric Ray, Table Rock Fishing Intel, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you. It is Tuesday, March 5th. I've been on the water, probably 6-7 times in the last week, almost every day. Fishing has been a little different every day, which we kind of expect. You know, it's end of February, beginning of March, nothing's locked in. They haven't all moved up, some haven't. But the bite's been fairly good. I mean, it's been not gangbusters every day, but we have some really good days and we have some slower days. But today was a decent day. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 912 flat, so that is exactly 3 feet below normal pool for this time of year. Corey is running a little bit of water every day. Electric needs, keeping the trout alive, whatever. And then as far as our lake level, as far as our water temperature, we are at about 53.3 pretty much everywhere. A little bit warmer up the creeks and the rivers where you got a little color in it. About the same all over the main lake and all over down lake, up lake, wherever, doesn't really matter. Of course, you guys know if you check out the top of the page at Table Rock Fishing Intel, you have all that information at your fingertips. Regardless, I do want to let you guys know I've been talking about the app forever, at least 6-8 months. Looks like by the end of the month, we will probably be launching the app and you guys will all be grandfathered into the app. So that's good to know. It will be much easier for you to access all that information on your phone. Won't have to, go to the website. You can just go directly to the app. Won't have to log in. Won't have to mess with any of that. All that information, the maps, everything will be on the app so you can get to it on your phone much easier. If you have any friends or family that are kind of on the fence about joining Table Rock Fishing Intel as a pro subscriber, you want to kind of encourage them to go ahead and get that done, because once we launch the app, we are going to have to raise the price for the subscription simply because we have to cover the cost of the app fees. And app fees range anywhere from 10 to 25%. So every time somebody signs up, we have to pay Apple or Google 10 to 25%. So we have to raise the price to keep it semi-profitable. I wouldn't say it's profitable. But anyway, if you're coming down, want to fish the lower end of the lake, I have not really been to the lower end. I guess I was there last Thursday. It was either Wednesday or Thursday of last week. There's a deep bite if you want to go look for it, but to be honest with you, I'm pretty much over the deep bite. I have not been fishing any deeper than 45 or 50 foot deep. And actually, I've been trying to keep my boat in about 25. The best bite we had was kind of on the ends of those main lake channel swings where it flattens out and you've got some standing timber. Finding a lot of fish in that standing timber on those main lake channel swings, all over the lower end of the lake, catching them on a swim bait, Kitech 2.8. If I've got decent wind, I can catch a few on an A-rig as well. Seems like I catch better fish on an A-rig, but if I don't have any wind, they are very shy of the A-rig. So I've been throwing the Kitech 2.8 a lot. Like I said, you can catch them deep if you want to, anywhere from about 25 to about 55 foot deep. Most of them close to the ends of channel swings, on the ends of longer points close to the channel. And most of those fish are really close to a drop, but you got to have timber. If you don't have trees, you don't have brush, you don't have something for them to hold on, you're going to struggle to catch those deep fish. But a Damiki, jigging wrap, drop shot, scuba spoon, all those are still working. Talked to a few guys catching them on a crankbait down there, but I threw it for about 45 minutes to an hour on some really good windy banks. I caught a couple of shorts, but not really catching them great on a crankbait down there. But I know guys are doing it, mostly Wigglewort and rock crawler. And it's kind of the same with the jerkbait. I tried from about Big Cedar Cove all the way up to the state line, hitting some of my better jerkbait banks with some wind on them. Couple shorts, but I really could not seem to get a good bite on the jerkbait. My best bite down there has definitely been, it's really all over the lake. My best bite's been on a Kitech 2.8 or the A-rig. Really feel like those fish are keying in on shad right now. Come to the mid-lake, same sort of deal. The biggest thing is you got to have timber, you got to have brush, you got to have some sort of wood cover for these fish to be holding on. Kitech 2.8, number one bait down around here, around Kimberling City. If it's windy, throw the A-rig. Throw a little bit bigger swim bait to maybe weed out some of the smaller fish. It will work, but I can tell you I'm catching as many 3 to 5 pound fish on the smaller swim bait than I think I could catch on the big swim bait. Plus I'm getting a lot more bites, which keeps my attention. Same deal with the A-rig here. If you've got some wind, you can certainly catch a few on an A-rig, so keep that in mind as well. Have not, excuse me, thrown a crankbait around here very much. I know guys are catching them. Typical 45-degree chunk rock banks, ends of channel swing banks, that sort of thing. There are some crankbait fish being caught. Wigglewort and a rock crawler. Most of those fish are less than 10 feet deep. Got to have wind on the bank, got to have some rock, a little bit of wood cover helps as well. The jig bite has been kind of hit or miss. We went out and threw a jig for a little bit Saturday. I think it was Saturday. We threw a jig a little bit here in the mid-lake and did okay. Most of the fish, again, were on channel swings. I kept seeing fish on the bottom. We throw a swim bait, try to scrub a swim bait by them. They just weren't getting it. But when we threw the Pee-wee HD Spider down there and kind of worked it slow along the rocks and kind of hopped it a little bit, we could get those fish to react and we'd get them to bite. And I'm not going to say we loaded the boat, but that was how we got them to bite on Saturday versus throwing the swim bait. So keep that in mind as well if you're gonna come to the mid-lake. Up the James, crankbait's probably better up the James than anywhere else on the lake. You got a little bit of watercolor when you get up above point 12. It's not really dirty, but it does have a little bit of a stain. You can catch them hitting those channel swing banks. Main lake mostly, ends of those channel swing banks. Put the trolling motor down and just go and cover water, and you can certainly put some fish in the boat doing that. You can catch fish up the James on a swim bait as well, Kayak 2.8 or an A-rig if you've got the wind. Again, everything on the swim bait, everything on the A-rig has got to be around wood, whether it's standing timber, stump rows, or brush piles. If I can find brush piles, I can find fish on an A-rig, I can find fish on a swim bait. So keep that in mind if you're going to fish up the James. And then the jig bite was pretty good up the James last week as well. Mostly, we caught a few back in Piney, about halfway back. But really most of it was on the main lake, on the ends of those channel swings. You get a channel swing and then you'll have a little pocket or even a cove that comes in, and you'll have a flat area just inside the channel swing, and you've got a pretty significant drop right there. Throwing up onto that flat and working that thing down that drop and letting it fall down that drop. We caught quite a few on the Pee-wee HD Spider last week doing that. So keep that in mind as well. If you're going up there, you don't have any wind, the bite's slow, they're not following your swim bait, and you're seeing fish holding tight to the bottom, switch up and throw the jig up there and work it down off of those drops. You can catch a few fish doing that. Up the White River, I was up the White River Sunday and today. Today was a little weird. We found a lot of fish early, hanging around timber, hanging around brush piles. Found some out even deeper, out in like 45 to 50 foot deep around some shad. Dropped on them, casted to them. Had a lot of follows, a lot of short bites, a lot of biting the tail off of the swim bait and that sort of thing. And I'd say probably about 9:15, 9:30, the wind finally started to blow a little bit, and it changed everything. We didn't load the boat. It wasn't like we caught 100 fish or 50 fish or anything, but we caught several fish and had some really nice smallmouth and decent largemouth thrown at the tops of the trees, throwing at drops. Did catch one, a nice smallmouth on a Demiki right where it rolled off of a channel swing point. But a lot of fish on a swim bait. Did not throw an A-rig at all, but probably could have caught them on an A-rig as well once that wind came up. But a lot of fish up shallower. The overall depth these fish are in is anywhere from about 15 to about, I don't even think they're as deep as 30. There's probably some out there as deep as 30, but that's the overall depth. They're in the treetops and they're 5 to 15 foot down. And you get a little bit of wind, and that moves them up from 5 to 15 to 5 to 10, and even shallower than that, to where you're just shooting that swim bait or shooting the A-rig out there, and you're reeling as soon as it hits the water and bringing it over top of the tree, and they're coming up and hitting it. So keep that in mind. Did throw a crankbait up the Kings last Sunday. Dirty water, warm water, wind blowing on it. Never had a sniff. I don't know. Never had a sniff, never got bit. So I don't have a good crankbait report for up the Kings, but I know my buddy Travis has been catching them up the Kings on a rock crawler, on the channel swing banks, on the 45-degree chunk rock banks. So there is a crankbait bite up there. I guess I just missed it. Same with the jerkbait bite. Had one short on a jerkbait off of a brush pile, but other than that, really struggling with the jerkbait up there. Jig bite, though, has been really strong. Caught quite a few fish on a jig. Monday? I think it was Monday. I don't know. Anyway, caught quite a few fish on a jig, working the same sort of deal like up the King or up the James, where we're fishing off of a drop off, kind of a channel swing, flat, dropped off pretty sharp. I could throw up onto the drop off or onto the flat and drag it down that drop off without any wind, and we catch some fish doing that. So keep that in mind. If you guys are seeing fish on the bottom, even on your forward facing, if you're seeing a lot of fish on the bottom out in front of you, you're throwing a swim bait or A-rig or whatever at them and you cannot get them to react, pick up a jig, pick up that Pee Wee HD spider and throw it at them and just kind of work it slow and hop it a little bit, but you got to work it slow because they're not going to chase real hard and you can get a lot of those fish to bite. So keep that in mind as well. Guys, we're into March, 70 degrees. I don't know, maybe this is the new normal, but bite is good. Seems to be a lot more fish moving shallower, a lot more fish starting. I hesitate to say that they're staging to spawn, but they are certainly getting in position to stage to spawn. So we're starting to see a lot more fish up a lot shallower than we normally see them this time of year. Great bite going on. You get days where I had a day last week where, we could do no wrong. Everywhere we went, we found fish, we caught fish. And then you have days you got to hunt and peck, but it's early spring. They're not all up. They're not on every spot. But the bite has been really strong. It's going to continue to get strong. Best way to know, use your Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro membership and get those daily reports, weekly reports, all that information that'll help you catch more fish on Table Rock Lake. If you want to hire a guide, though, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and you can either book online or just shoot me an email. Get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for being Intel Pro subscribers. Thanks for watching the video. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.